Let's get it started off there.
We're going to start off with Daniel Jones, a guy who does not train in South Florida, just like Akbar.
Just like Akbar, but you know
exactly.
what? He uses his legs. Daniel Jones is mo money, mo money, mo money, especially this week. I think he can go out and get you some big-time plays. It seems like the offense is playing a little bit better. They're up-tempo, they're running. But this is what I love. This young man will use his legs. And when there's a rookie quarterback that's athletic enough to run and make plays and get the ball to his tight ends and different receivers. But when he can add that rushing ability, getting 2 touchdowns, that's huge.
Started in less than 3% of leagues. Let's move this along to Frank Gore. This old man's putting up 89 total yards, and when it comes to him getting touches, he's getting plenty of.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts?
I told y'all last week to play Frank. I'm not going to lie to you because I did train with Frank all offseason down there in South Florida. That's how I know Akbar wasn't there.
Okay.
But let me tell you something. Frank Gore is mo money, mo money, mo money. The Buffalo Bills are going to run the ball. They're playing the New England Patriots, I get it, but Frank Gore is always going to find a way to make plays. You want to get this young man in your lineup. And I said, yes, right, young man, because that's how he's running right now. Like he's young, like he's 26 and not 36.
Ponce de Leon from South Florida, fountain of youth. He played 62% of the snaps versus Cincy. What about Josh Jacobs, the rookie? Coach Gruden said he's going to use him a lot, but 3 targets, 3 games, more money, more problems.
Listen, again, I know everyone's frustrated. I get that, but I know John Gruden and the offensive staff, I've talked to a couple people, they want to get things going with him, throwing the ball. So to me, this is mo money, mo money, mo money. And again, remember, they were down a ton. They got down quick. I'm not worried about him. They got down quick. And so it kind of took Jacobs out of the game plan. But I think they get back to it early. They try to get him going early, get him more in space where he can be utilized running on DBs. As such.
Okay, Antonio Brown, of course, out in New England. Philip Dorsett, what do you say? More money or more problems?
Well, with Julian Edelman being hurt and all these things going on, it's still the Patriot way. And this is just
next
a problem.
Man up?
This is a mo problem for me.
Oh.
I'm sorry. And a great job, guys.
Mo problem, mo problems, mo problems.
Philip Dorsett, he just has to continue to keep working, but I don't think you're going to see him get in the end zone against his Buffalo Bills secondary because they're one of the top in the league. And so I think Josh Gordon's a better play.
Okay, how about Marvin Jones Jr., just his second 100-yard game in 2 seasons. What are you hitting him with?
Oh, listen, Marvin Jones Jr., he went to California. He went to the University of Cal. I don't like him because of that. But he went there and he balled. And guess who they play this week?
Who's that?
The Kansas City Chiefs. So they got to throw the ball. So this is mo money, mo money, mo money. You got to throw the ball as much as you can. You got to score points. I think he's going to have a huge day. And yes, their secondary played well. I'm talking about the Chiefs against the Baltimore Ravens. But you know what? I don't know if they'll do the same against this Detroit Lions team with all these weapons.
So
MJJ, wide receiver 9.
You say you talked to John Gruden?
3.
You ain't never talked. That's not the same number you called.
I never said I talked to John Gruden.
Oh,
Put his number out there if you go. Don't show me.
No.
They don't say John Gruden on there.
That phone's
John Gruden.
not even connected.
That's exactly
not
what that
even
said.
hooked up. Marcus, tell us what had happened.
What did that say? What does that say? That says.
Oh, it's time to get your excuses on. This is where I tell you why you lost in fantasy this week. Some of it's bad luck. Some of it's just the insanity of fantasy football. You know, we talked about the Detroit Lions. So let's start there. Kenny G hit a sour note this weekend. I mean, after lighting up the Chargers, a start against that Eagles secondary seemed like a sure thing. But what had happened was it was Marvin Jones Day. Galladay couldn't separate from the Philly corners while Jones went for a $101 and a touchdown. Not really digging this new release on Honolulu Blue Note Records. Next up, Ridley me this. You know, what has a safe floor and catches passes in the ATL? Calvin Ridley. But what happened was that floor fell away like the portrait room in a haunted mansion. Ridley was limited to just 1 target and 6 receiving yards. Let's just hope this enigma gets figured out before next week. Elsewhere, Todd Gurley got dog pounded. I mean, with Cleveland allowing more than 32 fantasy points per game to running backs, this seemed to be a get-right game for Gurley. But what happened was, instead of getting right, Gurley got left. He had just 1 target, averaged just 3 yards on his 14 carries. These dogs definitely fall under the working group. Next, where Andrews was off the mark. No tight end had been hotter than Mark Andrews after the first 2 weeks, but what happened was the Ravens, remember, they have like 11 tight ends on their roster. Playing on a bad foot, Andrews took a back seat to Nick Boyle and Hayden Hurst. Ravens tight ends putting the more in Baltimore. And finally, you gotta unring that Le'Veon Bell. Volume is king, right? Give the Bell a chance, right? But what happened was the Patriots turned down the volume on the New York Jets offense. The Jets ran a paltry 47 offensive plays, with Bell touching it just 22 times for 63 yards. Until Sam Darnold returns, consider this Bell to be a warning. All right, it is finally time for Grant's Tomb. Today, this segment finally comes to life. I mean, third time's the charm, right? Grant's Tomb will get out of the fantasy graveyard with some surprise.
Don't act surprised.
You're back.
Yes, I'm back. I've done this for 3 weeks now. And I've got my fantasy ninjas, and oh, are they ninja stars. Or at least potential ninja stars, just like Jeff Wilson Jr. for the San Francisco 49ers. He's emerging as a goal line back. He's getting a bunch of touchdowns, especially in this game against the Steelers. When you look at the opportunities that are there in this situation for the 49ers, this is the 4th ranked best rushing offense in the NFL, and I think he could turn out to be a big-time star.
I mean, hey, Kyle Shanahan told us he was going to be the guy to get those goal line opportunities. As long as he's scoring, he's got some fantasy upside. Dude, your ass sheet.
You gotta watch. Keep your eyes on the ninja hands, just like you have to keep your eyes on this man, tight end for the Houston Texans, Jordan Akers. Now, I'm not saying you take him off the waiver wire and then come out and put him in the starting position and get him playing. No, just keep your eyes on him, because what's happening is there's a lot of resources that are being dedicated to stopping Hopkins and Steele, and the tight ends are getting open. 5 targets, 3 receptions, and 73 yards with 2 touchdowns in this game. He's wide open. We could start seeing more of this in the offense.
Right now, we are so hurting for tight ends. Anybody who's getting targets and especially scoring touchdowns, you at least got to take a look at him.
That was a nice kick, wasn't it? It was sharp. And you got to be sharp with this pick. Tony Pollard. We knew that he had the ability to do this. We saw this during the preseason. And maybe you forgot because Ezekiel's back in the fold, but he still has it. 13 rushes, 103 yards. I'm telling you, if you don't have Tony Pollard and you're an Ezekiel Elliott owner, or for whatever reason, this is the insurance of the lifetime, of your life. It's like dying and buying insurance. You can't really do that. You got to get that insurance policy now. Tony Pollard is big-time prime time for your roster.
Can I buy some insurance for this segment? Hey, look, we hope that at some point Tony Pollard has some standalone value, but he probably won't with Ezekiel Elliott. But you're right. If you've got Zeke right now with the way running backs are going down, you got to make sure you have his handcuff.
Now, don't forget, the Fantasy Ninja can surprise you when you least expect it and be gone before you know it.
You know, one day we'll get this done.